Hi, I'm Carina. I'm a kitchen confidence coach. I'm going to talk to you today a bit about meal planning. Now, if you hate the idea of it, don't worry. It's not as bad as you think, and it does get easier the more you do it. I'm going to show you how. When I'm doing my meal planning, I use a couple of tools. Firstly, I use a notebook and I write my ideas down in that. If you use a notebook, I'd strongly recommend using the same one each time because it can be really helpful to refer back to previous week's meal plans to get some ideas from there. The other thing that I use is a magnetic whiteboard, and I write the meal plan on this so that it reminds me and everyone else in my house what it is that we're going to be eating. I can stick that to the front of the fridge and it's a really good visual aid. One thing I'd recommend is doing your meal plan at a point where you're not feeling completely flat and out of energy. I know that's hard, but when we leave it to the end of the day, often it can feel much more challenging than it has to be. I try to do my meal plan after I've had lunch. I find it much easier to think about food when I'm not hungry. Otherwise, I find that my meal plan is driven by what I fancy eating in that particular moment. Starting from a blank page can feel really daunting. One of the challenges we face is that there are so many things open to us and available to us to cook that working out what to cook on any given day for every single day can feel like a massive task. The great thing is there are a number of factors that you can think about to narrow down the choices available to you and make it much more straightforward to make your choices. So on my meal plan, I have a space for writing down what the weather's going to be like. The last thing you want is to plan a really warming and hearty meal on a day when it's going to be really warm outside, because when it comes to it, you're not going to want to eat it. So what's the weather doing today? A little bit cold and wet outside, but I know tomorrow it's going to be warmer. I normally start my meal plan on a Friday because I get a fresh vegetable delivery on a Friday every week, so I find that quite a helpful place to start. So on Friday lunchtimes, we'll tend to have either a takeaway or something so that I know that we can go out and get food, and then the fresh food will arrive later that day. Firstly, you want to be thinking about who's going to be eating. Now, at the moment, most of us are home most of the time, but as things start to open up again, that will change. You also want to be thinking about what those people eat. So most households will have someone either with an allergy or an intolerance, but they'll definitely have people with preferences, and those preferences can change. If you can find a common element in there, for example, if you have children that like fish fingers, you can make up a meal based on that common element. So for example, fish finger tacos. For the adults, you can add extra salads and sides. It means that you can share the same meal as your children, but you feel like you're getting extra variety and extra vegetables. You also want to think about what you've already got at home. So go through your fridge, have a look what's in there and see what needs eating up. So in my fridge, I found some green beans and some tender stem broccoli. So I'm going to include those in my meal plan for this week to make sure I eat them while they're still fresh. Starting from what you have can be a really good way to come up with new recipes or seek out new inspiration, looking in cookbooks perhaps you might have already or looking online for recipes. Similarly, what's in your cupboards? Perhaps you've got a tin of beans or some pasta that you particularly want to use up. So here in my cupboards, I found some light soy sauce and I've also got some Chinese black vinegar. If you start with what ingredients you have rather than buying new ingredients each time, it is going to save you money and it will reduce food waste. It's great to try cooking new things and it's great to try new techniques, but you also want to make sure that those are mixed in with existing favourites and things that you can make in a relatively easy and straightforward way so that you don't feel the whole week is a constant test of making new things. On Saturday lunchtime, we are going to have cheese on toast, and that evening I have splashed out on a whole roast chicken, which we'll be having with chips and coleslaw. So I've got these curry cubes to make katsu curry, and I know that by Monday there will still be some chicken left over, and I definitely don't want to waste that. So on Monday I'm planning chicken katsu curry made with these cubes with some steamed rice and some steamed green vegetables. One thing I'd really recommend is labelling absolutely everything in your fridge and your freezer with what it is and the date that you put it in there, so that it makes it easier for you to know what needs eating up and when. If you think of your meals in a more modular way, so thinking about your source of protein, your source of carbohydrates and your vegetables, breaking it down in that way can help you come up with combinations of things that combine what's in your store cupboards with what's in your fridge and what needs eating up. So what I've got on my meal plan here is I've got a number of days where our meals are based on chicken, because I know I'll be roasting a whole chicken and I definitely don't want to waste any of that. But following that, I've included some fish. We've got some meals with some cheese as a source of protein, and I've also got an omelette included on the meal plan. The same with the sources of carbohydrates. I've got some bagels here and some cheese on toast. We've got a katsu curry that I'll serve with rice, and a couple of things that I'll be serving with potatoes as well to mix up those sources of carbohydrates. One thing that's really helpful in a meal plan for reducing waste is to include some flexibility in that plan. And the way that I really like to do this is normally for weekday lunch times, you'll see written on my meal plan, fridge raid, fridge raid. And this involves going over to the fridge and literally looking what's in there and making a meal out of it. So let's take a look at what's in the fridge. So here, I've got some roasted butternut squash, I've got some roasted sweet potatoes and some hummus. So I'll probably make a salad out of those, adding some extra raw vegetables that I have. I can see I've got some cabbage in there. So I'll slice that probably very thinly and put a little bit of vinegar over to quick pickle that. I've got some carrots, I'll probably just peel and grate those as well. Great, that's the meal plan done. Now I'm going to put this somewhere really visible so that everyone in the family can see what we're having to eat for the next week. Great, done. Now I don't have to think about it for another week. It's important to remember that no meal plan is ever perfect, and we're not striving for perfection here. The reason that we plan our meals is to make life easier for us, and over time, as you do your meal planning, you'll find the ways that work for you.